All right, welcome everybody. We do have a quorum today. I'm Jenna, I'm here, John's here, Paul's here, and we have Hannah on the phone. So the four of us make a quorum, so we are good to move forward. So thank you, everybody who's here today. So the first item on our agenda is to approve the order of the agenda. So do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, perfect. Any discussion? All right, excellent. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed? Should be good. Motion carries. All right, and now we are going to motion for approval for our minutes for the June 18 minutes from last month.
I'll move approval of the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, great. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 And all opposed? All right, motion carries. Public comment, I see no public, so moving along. Staff report.
My name is Melissa Duncan, and I am the Library Marketing and Community Engagement Specialist, and I'm here in place of Megan since she is on vacation this week. So for the staff report, just wanted to update you that we have 2 promotions within the library. Anna Lynch is now our new teen librarian and adult services librarian. And Danny Leopold has been promoted from an LA3 to a librarian 1 at the Northport Library. Their previous positions are now posted, and there's also an additional 3rd position that is open, I believe, as well at this time. A little bit of an update on the Summer Reading Challenge, which has been going really well. We have, as of last week, we had 2,293 people registered. That's all ages. And which is another awesome stat, is that we had 36,131 days read. So we count days read for the Summer Reading Challenge, which is, again, an awesome stat for us. You have the list of programs that are not a complete list, but a list within your board packet. And I just wanted to highlight a couple. One is coming up next week. There's the Adventures in Science, and we have 2 sessions of that. One is for children, and that will be presented by Dr. Graham and his students from the Concordia Science Academy. These are happening on July 23rd. The children's one is at 1 p.m., and then there is a teen science that's a little more advanced. That one will be taking place at 3 p.m. at the main library. Both of those are registration events, or require pre-registration rather. And then another highlight is next week we also have Navy Week events. Some of you are familiar, the air show is happening at the end of next week. We are hosting our 3rd time of having some Navy Week related events that are brought to us by folks in the Navy. So one of the things that we're going to be having is a story time with sailors read to kids. That story time will happen on July 25th at the main library. We also have, during that same time period, there'll be a Navy Week educational display. Those will be presented, and personnel from the Navy History and Heritage Command will be on hand to share about the deep ties between North Dakota and the Navy. Oddly enough, we're far away from the ocean, but they do actually, according to what we've been told before, there are a lot of people from this area that actually end up joining the Navy. Also, sailors who are currently serving and personnel from the U.S. Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Command will inform visitors of the importance of the atmospheric and oceanographic science and overall value of the STEM education within the Navy. And there'll be 2 sessions of that. One will be at the main library, and also there will also be one at the Dr. James Carlson Library. And then the other highlight that we have with Navy Week is we are being able to host the Navy Band Great Lakes Brass Quintet, which will be a concert at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, July 24th at the Dr. James Carlson Library. Do you have any questions, or is there anything else? That's, like I said, the other highlights are in your board packet, and then of course we have more events and things coming up that are also on our website and calendar.
All right, excellent, thank you. All right, Tim, the director's report.
Yeah, per your packet, you have it there, kind of truncated. I had a nice vacation, so that kind of tightened it up a little bit. If you have any questions.
Okay. All right, we have any questions for Tim on the director's report?
I have a question. Could you update me on the budget process and how that progresses through the year?
Right, where we are, and it's on the agenda later, the budget update.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry, that I jumped ahead.
Okay,
We'll skip to then.
sure.
Save it for them. Thank you.
Okay. Agenda item number 6 is unfinished business, which is none, so we'll move along to new business.
Segueing right
There we go.
Yep,
it is. What we've had is I've had a number of 2 department meetings with the city's budget team. And basically discussing our request for 2025 per what the board approved in that regard. At the last meeting, well, kind of get to John's question, the real definition of what the budget's going to be for 2025 will be as of the 25th of this month when the mayor's preliminary budget comes out. So I, as a department head, will be attending a meeting in here on the 25th, right around noon, and they'll be walking through all of it. In terms of preliminary conversations prior to that, kind of impactful things in terms of where the discussions are in terms of operating. We asked for some significant money for books and materials, primarily looking at the significant demand for e-content via Libby and Hoopla. Essentially, per the discussions, we're looking at less than half of that. The final number might be a little bit larger, but that's where that's sitting right now. In terms of other increases that we asked for, the increase for marketing, we're not looking at that. Increase for programming materials. Those are some kind of, it's kind of hard because that's, really mission centric to what we do. And certainly the board, every month you hear all the activities in terms of programming and how we get it out there to people. But that's kind of, in terms of operating, that's the kind of discussion that's been held there. And, looking at other, decreases in terms of what they identified based on trends in terms of natural gas and other lines, some impact there as well. But the more impactful one, obviously, is books and materials and, and programming. The good thing is, in terms of marketing, money, and programming, the Friends have been extremely generous to us and have done a tremendous job of, being open and amenable to, as we look at funding for programming, putting in financial ask to kind of look at marketing as well of that particular program. And they have been very generous in that way. So that's been helpful in that regard. In terms of capital, large items, if you remember, we were looking at the repurposing of the former coffee shop at the main library. Mm-hmm. Currently approved by the budget team is the money for that. Again, this is still preliminary. We'll know more as of the mayor's budget on the 25th. The other good thing, the other 2 things that were posited looking at towards 25 in terms of capital, but due to, on the good side of state aid that we received over what was budgeted, we're looking at redoing the carpeting at Northport and widening the entrance, the entrance that was identified through the facilities master plan. So we're excited about that happening this year, and the same with the carpet replacement. So good on the capital side with what we initially requested and kind of getting a jump on some of those projects within this fiscal year as well. In terms of staffing requests, You know, it's hard for me to know based on the conversations in terms of the librarian one, the reference to associate LRA 3, the full-time reference to associate LRA 3. In terms of the safety, library safety specialist, there's been a lot of discussion, and it would seem that in terms of, at least for the budget team, they feel good about that position, with the caveat being that it wouldn't necessarily be a library staff person, but under facilities safety, which is through facilities management. Now, I'm okay with that. My big point with that was, in the past, we've had staff from other departments that were kind of tasked with those kinds of things, and when they had a rainy day on their end, they disappeared and we never got them back. But I was assured and reassured, and I asked the question again. I threw as many scenarios at them as possible, and saying, I said, because I need this person at the library,
Is that
not
just,
across the street or whatever.
is that just for the main library? or-
Correct.
Okay. So what does that mean? Like, if there's a big event at City Hall, like, they might have to come work for that?
Well,
or-
the scenarios, right, there might be something like that, or, so-and-so's sick, or so-and-so's on vacation, or whatever.
Okay,
But I was reassured by city administration at that meeting that, no, this is a designated. So obviously, I don't see the position as a solution to everything, but it's an added resource that we definitely need.
so City of Fargo facilities will own.
Will
the pos-
be, and their direct supervisor will be.
Right, and they'll own that budget.
From the conversation, it seemed like whether the money will be in our budget or be in their budget,
Okay.
but the person will be designated for the library.
Gotcha. Is that normal in other city?
Well, I would say this. The concern is that you didn't create a brand new, in the facilities facilities management department, a facilities safety specialist,
Okay,
and then create another silo in another department, kind of doing that, but more of under that umbrella. And I can understand that to a degree.
yeah.
And I know the gentleman who's the head of that, and he's a former police officer, and we get along, and he's come to the library and we've talked about our issues. And so I sense that there's a sense of awareness and understanding, and based on his experience. And so I feel good about that, knowing that individual's in charge of the whole situation.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing is looking at getting our page positions to a decent hourly. That was a request as well. That remains to be seen, kind of going from 10 to 12 or 14, something like that. But hopefully we can get something like that. So in a nutshell, that's where the conversations are, some movement, some, things we have to look at greater resources and support across, in terms of friends and what have you. Yeah, so as of the 25th, we'll have a really pretty well rock solid idea of where all these things are. So generally, in my experience, once the mayor's preliminary budget comes out, I've never seen anything touched in terms of the library budget.
Sure.
That's what it's going to be for the forthcoming fiscal year. So if anybody has any additional questions.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the numbers here, I see several line items are running over. Your projection, like 142% on maintenance for this building.
I
here.
would say that what that is, and where that is we had some maintenance contracts that were falling under computers that really should have fallen under maintenance. So overall, I would say the budgets for the duration of fiscal year 2024 will be fine.
Yeah.
Because maintenance contracts are always done on the front end, the beginning of the fiscal year.
Okay.
So we're not looking at this overage, but eventually, like everything else, there are increases that we have to continue to ask for in that regard. So
Yeah, so you're expecting to meet the budget at the end of the year?
Correct.
Or go above it?
I think we'll be fine. Overall.
Okay. Yeah, we have to talk to Mahoney to give you more money then.
I have all confidence based on how it ebbs and flows. And, you know, some of the lines get encumbered right up the front, and so all that money disappears, which is good, because it's going to be expended anyway. So there's that kind of initial percentage increase that you see that kind of evens out as you get through the fiscal year.
Yeah, thank you.
And the plan for the coffee shop replacement is still laundry and family
Right.
bathroom?
The laundry for the wiggle room items, the general neutral restroom, and mother's nursing room.
Good. All right, any other questions? We don't have to vote on this, correct?
No, this is just an update right here.
Gotcha. Okay, moving on to agenda item 8, statistical reports.
Yeah, June usage, you can see it there in your packet. In terms of attendance, up 2% over June of '23 through the end of June, year to date. You can see we're up 12% over last year, just over 23,000 more visits. Program attendance, you can see that there, that's up significantly. 36% over last year, and then year to date through the end of June, 45%, which is just over 6,600 more folks attending programs. Volunteer hours, really strong there. 30% over last year, June, and year to date, 62% over last year. That represents like 500 more volunteer hours. Internet sign up 2% June over June '23, and year to date 21% over 2023, with just over 5,000 more folks signing in. And electronic activity for websites, you can see that 12% over June of '23, and then through the end of June, year to date, 18%, which represents just over 19,000 more hits on the website. In terms of circulation overall, up just over 2% over June of '23, and year to date, up just over 9% over '23, representing an increase of just over 45,000 more items circulated. So continuing the trend of being busy. In terms of financials, unless somebody has any questions on that.
The volunteer hours that are on here do not include the volunteer hours from the book sale store, right? That's all through the Friends?
Correct.
Just wondering.
Right, that represents folks shelving and doing other things directly in the library. Moving on to financials. If I can breathe here.
Got a frog in your throat.
You can see on the revenue side, $25 that we received. Basically to get some artwork returned by, I believe, the owner. So it's not so much a donation as just covering the costs of returning that, which was very generous. And then on the expenditure side, as I talked about before, billboard purchases of $300 for the Summer Reading Challenge. And again, that's from the Friends, so thank you, Friends. $783, and $775 of that was for the Mixed Nuts program, children's program for the Summer Reading Challenge. Again, thank you, Friends. And $8 for private donation for the Tea Time Book Club. Expenditure, the $628. Again, thank you, Friends, is $30 for the Way to Go staff recognition, and just around $598 for the Summer Reading Challenge kickoff week. Again, thank you, Friends, on that. So you can see the ins and out in terms of donation money. In terms of operating, you can see, obviously, with 50% of the budget year lapsed, right around 50% expended in terms of summary expense versus aggregate budget. And revenue, you can see there, we're well on pace in terms of what was budgeted in terms of revenue.
All right, any questions for Tim? All right, well, moving on to agenda number 9, which is Friends of the Library. And I see no friends,
Just thank you.
so thank you, friends. All right, our next regular meeting is August 20th, and this meeting is adjourned.
Yep.
We're
Yes,
off
we are,
air, now
yes.
we're on air. Okay. All right. So we are moving into our Board of Directors annual meeting. Let's see here. So welcome, everybody,
Thank you.
to our annual meeting. And Hannah, you're still here?
I am, yes.
Okay, wonderful. So we're good to vote. So the first agenda item is approve the order of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Okay, and I second.
Any discussion of the agenda? All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
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 All right, and then that should be, any opposed? All right. All right, agenda item number 2, approve minutes of the July 18th, 2023 annual meeting. Do I have a motion to approve our minutes?
I'll move approval of the minutes from the July 18th, 2023 annual meeting.
And I will second you.
All right, any discussion of the meeting minutes from last year? All right. So vote, all in favor,
Yes.
Aye.
and any opposed? All righty. All right, Tim, are you gonna talk about agenda
Sure.
item number 3? Thank you.
It's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, per your packet there, affirmation of the library board of ethics statement. Again, where this came from is the board orientation committee, when they worked and developed the new board orientation. One of the things they thought would be really helpful, as people come and go and things change, that on an annual basis at the annual meeting, that this list of ethics statement items be reaffirmed by the board. And so due diligence, it is there before you to be reaffirmed.
so do you need us to sign this? Is that what we're talking about
I
here?
think the vote is the signature.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, that's
Thank
what
you.
it is. Mhm.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the affirmation of the library board ethics statement?
I'll move affirmation of the library board ethics statement as presented to us.
Shall second it.
Okay, perfect. All in favor, or any discussion? Sorry.
Not really. other
Okay.
than not that we can't interfere in what Tim is doing, so. Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, so agenda item number 4 is election of officers for the 2024 to 2025 period. So we do need to ask for some nominations for president. And that includes a motion? or
You
you
start
can
with,
sell-
what you do is someone will say, I motion Amy Oren to
Okay.
be president. And say, duly noted, are there any other
Okay.
nominations? And saying, hearing none, then you vote on.
All
I
right.
can't say it.
Right. All right. Do we have any motions for president?
President.
I guess I can motion that we nominate Amy Warren for president.
Can Amy be president again? Okay, she can. Can I vote as acting president today?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know all these things. I second the motion for.
But you
Amy.
gotta ask if there are any additional nominations.
Oh, sorry. Is there any additional nominations? Hearing none. Any discussion before we vote?
No, you need a motion.
Oh, sorry. A motion to
Accept the nomination.
accept the nomination for Amy.
I'll move we accept the nomination for Amy,
I'll second.
president of the board.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, I think our motion passes. All right, Amy is president. Okay, now, oh my gosh. Now we're going forward with vice president. Do I hear any, what are we calling this thing? Nominations, thank you, for VP.
I will move to nominate you to
Okay,
also,
sure.
again, be vice president. Jenna, to be
All right.
Do you have a motion to accept? Or
Yeah.
are there any other nominations?
Is there any other nominations? All right, the motion, is there a motion to approve me, Jenna Reno, as vice president of the library board?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, and any discussion? All right, vote, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, any opposed?
Motion passes.
Motion has passed and carried. Ooh, that was tough. Thanks, everybody. So since we have elected our president and vice president, our meeting is adjourned.